Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto primordial wolf Percy Jackson. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Three-Headed Dragon and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. Hecate's Champion. Hecate, Greek goddess of magic, sorcery, witchcraft, crossroads, trivial knowledge, necromancy, ghosts, night, and the mist. She was a very beautiful woman with pale skin, vivid green eyes, hair that was as black as the night sky done in a high ponytail, a slender build, wide hips, a narrow waist, and C-cup breasts. For clothes she wore a dark sleeveless gown with many rune designs on it, gold bracelets, and brown strappy sandals. Currently Hecate was sitting in her house in the underworld while thinking about everything that was going on. From what she was told by Persephone, someone has stolen Hades' helm of darkness, and he was pissed. Hecate said she'd help get it back since she was good friends with both Hades and Persephone, and she knew the perfect person to help look for the helm. Her demigod son and champion, Naruto Uzumaki. The only problem she had with asking him to help with this situation was the fact that she would have to reveal his existence, and she really didn't want to do that, especially since she knew that most of the Olympians don't trust her. Thinking about her son, her special little boy, Hecate couldn't help but smile with love and pride. From a very young age her little Naruto loved magic and even had a natural talent for it. He would sometimes use magic without even noticing. As he grew he started to manipulate the mist as well, but this time he was more aware of the fact that he was doing it. She had to laugh as she remembers the sheer joy and happiness on her special little boy's face as he jumped around shouting how magic was real and he was a magic boy. But then, like with most demigods, tragedy struck when he was 10 in the form of his father, Minato, being killed by monsters. She didn't know how monsters found her child, but she was at least happy that Minato did in fact tell Naruto about her. Because of this he wasn't all that surprised when she appeared in front of him and explained who she was. Hecate had planned to make Naruto her champion, since he showed potential to surpass even gods in the use of magic, but yet his heart was so pure and full of love. But first she needed to have him trained in the use of magic, so she took him to his big sister Circe. Circe didn't like him at all the first time they met despite him being her little brother, but that changed over time and he became someone she adored. Circe taught him everything she knew about magic, along with Hecate sending books for the things Circe didn't know, and Naruto soaked it all up like a sponge. By the time he was 13 there was nothing else Circe could teach him, and Hecate made him her champion. Circe had been sad about this, as it meant her little brother would be leaving her, but Naruto surprised her by promising to return to her. He had kept that promise because every time he left on a mission for their mother he did indeed return to her. Her son was now 16 and was a very accomplished sorcerer and warrior. She had many of his spoils of war from the many monsters he had slain over the years. It also helps that her son has made some powerful friends over his time traveling the world in order to complete his missions. Sighing to herself Hecate resigned herself to the fact that in order to help her friends, she would have to reveal her son. Sea of Monsters. Circe's Island. Naruto Uzumaki was a rather handsome young man standing at 5'10" with lightly tanned skin, spiky black hair with blonde tips, vivid green eyes, 3 whisker-like marks on each cheek, and an athletic build. For clothes he wore black combat boots, black cargo pants with silver stitching, a belt with a silver wolf skull buckle, a dark purple short-sleeved muscle shirt, a dark purple leather jacket with a black trim, and his mother's cross torches on the back in gold, with a silver wolf head under it, and around his neck is a cord necklace with a silver pendant of his mother's cross torches. Currently Naruto was sitting under a tree in a nice and quiet part of his big sister's island while reading through a book of spells. Despite being 16 and having been using magic for years now, learning new spells still got him as excited as a little kid all over again. But even though he was a very accomplished user of magic he was also a warrior, having mastered the use of a sword and shield should his magic ever fail him, though it hasn't so far. In fact he's even created some new spells that he was teaching to Circe. She was really excited to learn as she found his spells to be ones most wouldn't think of. Naruto was taken from his thoughts when his pendant started to flash, showing him that his mother was trying to contact him. Tapping the pendant it projected an image of his mother's head and shoulders. "Hey mom, how are you?" asked Naruto. "I'm fine sweetie, but I'm afraid that something really bad has happened and I need you to help sort things out," said Hecate. "What's going on?" asked Naruto. "Well, someone has stolen Hades' helm of darkness and he's pissed about it. Not to mention that according to Persephone Zeus and Poseidon have been fighting as it seems Zeus's master bolt has also been stolen," said Hecate. Naruto's eyes widened at this information. 2 of the big 3 symbols of power had been stolen. This was a very big problem. "You want me to get the bolt and helm back?" said Naruto. "No, I care not if Zeus should ever get his master bolt back, besides I have foreseen someone else returning it to him. I do want you to get Hades' helm back though." said Hikate. Naruto sighed at his mother's attitude towards Olympus, but he couldn't say that he didn't understand it. He would be bitter too if he served faithfully for thousands of years and was still shown so little respect or trust. He hoped that someone would fix this one day. "Very well mom, I'll get the helm back," said Naruto while secretly planning to get the bolt back as well, just in case. "Good, but Naruto, there is another part of this that worries me. It's time to reveal you to everyone," said Hikate. "You mean?" said Naruto, unable to finish the sentence. "Yes, it's time for you to go to Camp Half-Blood," said Hikate. "Can I at least bring my friends with me?" asked Naruto. "You can bring Catastro's, but leave your two creations on the island. You can summon them to aid you when you're on a quest or something," said Hikate. "They have names mom," said Naruto. Another skill Naruto picked up from his mother is monster creation. He's only made 2 so far, but they were very powerful. "Right, sorry sweetie, but like I said you can summon Sayla and Albedo later," said Hikate. "Alright, I'll head out after I tell Circe," said Naruto while dreading having that talk. His big sister was very protective of him and didn't like it when he left the island. "Good luck my little magic boy," said Hikate with a smile. "Thanks mom, I'll talk to you later, bye," said Naruto quickly with his cheeks turning red as he tapped his pendant again and hung up the call. "Damn it, I'm 16 now, why does she still have to call me that?" Naruto asked himself before standing up and walking towards his sister's spa. When he got there he waved to his sister's attendants who waved back with smiles on their faces, though his favorites among his sister's attendants were Reina and her older sister Hyla. He knew they were Roman demigods, but he didn't care, it's not like he was going to tell anyone, and they were very close. Soon he arrived at Circe's office and found her behind her desk going over some paperwork. Circe was a very beautiful woman with fair skin, long dark hair that was braided with threads of gold, green eyes, a slender build, long legs, wide hips, a narrow waist, a plump ass, and CC cup breasts. For clothes she wore a black silk dress that seems to have dark animal shadows running across it, gold sandals, and the same necklace as him. "Ah bother, what brings you to my office today?" asked Circe. "I'm just here to tell you that I'm leaving on another quest for mom," said Naruto. "Oh really, well then how long will you be gone this time?" asked Circe. "I don't know, this quest requires I go to Camp Half-Blood," said Naruto. That bit of information shocked and disturbed Circe as she honestly never wanted her little brother to go to that camp in fear that he would never come back. He had proven himself to be one of the only trustworthy men in the world and she didn't want him to leave or for him to be corrupted by the children at the camp, mostly by the boys there. What could be so important that you need to go there?" asked Circe. "Zeus's Master Bolt and Hades' Helm of Darkness have been stolen," said Naruto. "Okay, that's a good reason, but I still don't like it," said Circe. "I know you don't, but this is really important," said Naruto. "Fine, but I want you to promise me 2 things. First, promise me that you'll be careful and second, promise me that you won't allow anyone's opinion to influence you," said Circe. She knew that Naruto didn't like to judge people on past actions, believing that it's not what we have done, but what we chose to do now that defines us, though he did have a little difficulty following his own words when it came to some of the gods, mostly Hera after what she did to their sister. "I promise Circe," said Naruto, causing Circe to sigh in relief. She would normally force someone to swear on the river Styx, but she knew that a regular promise from Naruto was just as good. The young man would rather die than break a promise, death before dishonor as he liked to say. "Good, I assume the girls will be going with you," said Circe. "No, Sayla and Albedo will not be coming with me. Mother said not to bring them right away, and now that I think about it, I understand why. This will be my first time at the camp, and my first action being bringing monsters into the camp would not leave a good impression," said Naruto with Circe nodded in understanding. But that done, Naruto went about saying goodbye and hugging all the attendants, his hug with Reina and Hyla lasting longer than the others, and his talk with Sayla and Albedo was difficult since those two really hated it when he went places without them. He was able to soothe them by promising to summon at least one of them if he should need them for anything. Now though he found himself in an open field looking for his trusty steed, Catastro's. His search came to an end when Catastro's came galloping up to him once the horse had sensed his presence. Catastro's was an all-black stallion with yellow eyes and armor on its head. "Hey there Catastro's, you ready for another trip?" asked Naruto. Catastro simply looked into Naruto's eyes and stomped one of his hooves on the ground a few times, causing Naruto to smirk. "Glad to see you're so eager, let's go," said Naruto before climbing up onto Catastro's. Catastro's then started running while Naruto held his hand out. "Ooh Sastos," said Naruto as a purple magic circle appeared in front of them before they ran through it. Moments later they appeared coming out of the magic circle in a forested area. The first thing they saw was a woman being held up by the Minotaur, two boys, one standing and one on the ground out cold with goat legs, and then they saw the woman be squeezed by the Minotaur until she turned into gold dust. After that Naruto saw the boy that was standing have a look of despair on his face before facing down the Minotaur. Naruto smirked at the fact that the boy suddenly grew a backbone, but he wasn't going to let the boy fight the Minotaur on his own, so he quickly had Catastros charge towards the Minotaur. While charging towards the Minotaur, Naruto summoned his signature weapon into his left hand, a purple, black, silver, and gold shield which doubled as a sheath for his saber of the same color scheme. Naruto then saw the boy use the Minotaur's head as a springboard while also breaking off one of its horns in the process. The Minotaur rounded on the boy and was about to strike at him, but instead that was when Naruto rode by and sliced the back of the Minotaur's leg, causing it to roar in pain. Naruto got off of Catastros and stood next to the boy. Now that he was right next to him, Naruto saw that the boy had fair skin, black hair, seafoam green eyes, and a lean build. For clothes he wore black all-stars, jeans, a white t-shirt, and a gray hoodie. "Are you alright?" asked Naruto. Yeah, I'm okay. Who are you?" asked the boy. "Naruto, you?" asked Naruto. "Percy Jackson," said Percy. "Well, it's nice to meet you, Percy, but we can properly introduce ourselves after we kill this beast," said Naruto as he unsheathed his knight saber. Percy nodded and tightened his grip on the Minotaur horn. The Minotaur turned on the boys with rage in its eyes, but it was putting more weight on its left leg as it was the right leg that Naruto sliced. It tried to charge at them, but due to its injured leg, it was more of a fast limp. Because of this, it was easy for both Percy and Naruto to dodge its attempt to impale them on its remaining horn. It reached out in order to try and grab Naruto with its right hand, but instead of grabbing Naruto, it got 3 of its fingers cut off, causing it to roar in pain. Percy then ran up and started stabbing it in the side with its own horn. The Minotaur took a swing at Percy, but he ducked under it and continued to stab at the beast. Soon the Minotaur fell to its knees while being supported by its one good arm. Percy and Naruto stood in front of the Minotaur with their weapons at the ready before they stabbed into it, Percy hitting it in the heart while Naruto got it between its eyes. The Minotaur didn't even get to roar one last time before it turned into gold dust and blew away. With the beast gone, the adrenaline started to fade away and all the stress hit Percy at once and he passed out, though thankfully Naruto was able to catch him before he hit the ground. "Catastros," said Naruto, causing the horse to trot over to Naruto. Naruto laid Percy across Catastros' saddle before doing the same to the other boy who turned out to be a satyr. With that done, Naruto led Catastros up the hill and into the valley below where there was a farmhouse waiting. Naruto felt it as they passed through a magical barrier that he remembered his mother told him surrounded the camp. After a little bit, a centaur trotted up with a young girl next to him. Seeing this, Naruto sheathed his saber back into his shield and then sent the shield away. This caught the attention of both the centaur and the girl. "Greetings, young demigod, I am Chiron, trainer of heroes, and I congratulate you on making it here safely," said the now named Chiron before a look of worry came across his face when he saw Percy. "The boy is more tired than anything, so don't worry about him too much. I believe he had more difficulty getting here than I did," said Naruto. "I see, would you mind helping to take them to the infirmary?" asked Chiron. "Not at all, lead the way," said Naruto. As they were walking, he noticed the girl that came with Chiron kept taking glances at him. Now that he looked at her, he saw that she had fair skin, blonde hair styled in princess curls, light gray eyes, a slender build, high below C-cup breasts, and round ass. For clothes she wore an orange shirt that said Camp Half-Blood, a pair of jeans, and black trainers. Once they reached a big house, Naruto helped Chiron take both boys to the infirmary. After that they were right back outside with Chiron standing in front of him. "Thank you for your help, young one. May I have your name and whether or not you know who your godly parent is?" asked Chiron. "I'm Naruto Uzumaki," said Naruto before the symbol of Hecate appeared above his head. "And I'm the son and champion of Hecate," said Naruto. "Well, there you have the first chapter of Hecate's Night Wolf. I hope you liked it. Now to clear up a few things. Naruto's last name is Uzumaki instead of Namikaze because Hecate disguised herself as Kushina when she met Minato and pretty much demanded that Naruto have her last name. Naruto doesn't have chakra, but it is replaced by magic. There aren't too many spells in Percy Jackson that actually have names, so expect there to be spells from Harry Potter. Chapter 2. A Night's Time in Camp. The next day. Naruto was currently sitting outside of the big house waiting for Chiron to come back with someone to show him around. This normally would have happened yesterday, but it was already really late when he showed up, so he had to sleep in the big house and the tour would take place in a few minutes. Looking over to the side, he noticed a bunch of campers trying to get Catastros into the stables, but the horse wouldn't move. He couldn't help but chuckle at this, as he knew just how stubborn his trusty steed could be. He knew they wouldn't be able to move him, since Catastros was stronger than 100 men. Well, they might be able to get him to move if there was a nice female horse at the stables. The sound of Chiron's hooves hitting the ground caught his attention. Turning towards the sound, he found Chiron approaching with a young woman at his side. Said young woman was about as tall as he was, with lightly tanned skin, shoulder-length straight messy brown hair, brown eyes, a muscular but still feminine build, mile long toned legs, wide hips, a narrow waist, a toned ass, and high C-cup breasts. For clothes she wore black boots, black jeans, a sleeveless orange Camp Half-Blood shirt, and a black vest. "Naruto, I would like for you to meet Clarisse LaRue, she'll be the one showing you around the camp," said Chiron. "So you're the new meat that came in last night?" said Clarisse while looking Naruto up and down. "I guess so, it's nice to meet you, Clarisse," said Naruto. "Yeah, whatever, let's go since I don't have all day to show you around," said Clarisse. Naruto raised an eyebrow at her attitude but dismissed it. He was about to follow her until he noticed one of the campers about to try and hop on Catastro's back. "One moment please, hey, I wouldn't do that if I was you," yelled Naruto. His warning came too late as the camper sat down and Catastro's immediately started to buck until the camper went flying off and hit the ground hard, causing everyone that saw it to wince. "That had to hurt, Catastro's," called Naruto. Hearing his name being called caused the horse to move towards Naruto, uncaring to the fact that he was dragging some campers behind him. "Sorry about Catastro's, Chiron, he rarely listens to anyone other than me," said Naruto. "It's alright, Naruto, just try to get him to stay at the stables when Clarisse takes you to see them," said Chiron. Naruto nodded at this before he and Catastro's followed after Clarisse. Clarisse showed Naruto the lake, the volleyball court, the climbing wall, the strawberry field, the fully stocked forest, which greatly interested Naruto, and when they got to the stables, it wasn't too hard to get Catastro's to stay, especially after he saw a brown female Pegasus. Now Naruto and Clarisse were at a large half circle of 12 cabins, though most of them didn't even look like cabins. "Alright, listen closely because I'm only going to explain this once. There are 12 cabins here at camp, one for each of the Olympians, and only their kids are allowed to stay in the cabin. Cabin 1 belongs to Zeus and is empty. Cabin 2 belongs to Hera because she'd bitch if she didn't have one. Cabin 3 belongs to Poseidon and is empty. Cabin 4 belongs to Demeter. Cabin 5 belongs to Ares. Cabin 6 belongs to Athena. Cabin 7 belongs to Apollo. Cabin 8 belongs to Artemis and is used by her hunters whenever they have to come here. Cabin 9 belongs to Hephaestus. Cabin 10 belongs to Aphrodite. Cabin 11 belongs to Hermes and cabin 12 belongs to Dionysus." "Any questions?" asked Clarisse. "Which cabin are you from?" asked Naruto. "Cabin 5, Ares is my father," said Clarisse with a smirk. "I see, that actually explains a lot," said Naruto. "And what do you mean by that?" asked Clarisse with narrowed eyes and her fists clenched. "You carry yourself differently than most people, despite being in a place that is supposed to be a safe place for demigods. Your guard is up like you're expecting to be attacked. Your muscles aren't huge like a bodybuilder, nor are they small as if you only work out to keep your figure. Your muscles are for actual use rather than show. Despite being slightly guarded, you carry yourself with confidence in your every step. In other words, you carry yourself like a warrior, which is something you would expect from a child of Ares," said Naruto, not at all bothered by her attitude, which in all honesty was another thing most expected from a child of Ares. "Oh," said Clarisse as she really wasn't expecting him to say all of that. "You know, if you had blonde hair and gray eyes I'd think you were a son of Athena." "Hey, are you claimed or unclaimed?" asked Clarisse. "I'm claimed, I'm the son and champion of Hecate," said Naruto. "Wait, really?" asked Clarisse, getting a nod from Naruto. "Well, you'll still have to stay in Hermes' cabin since he takes in all demigods," said Clarisse. "Alright, but before I go and meet them I'd like to spar with you," said Naruto. That greatly surprised Clarisse as she was getting ready to dunk his head in a toilet due to being new to camp, but beating the crap out of him in a spar sounded even better. The best part was that since he asked for the spar she wouldn't get in trouble when he got hurt. "Sure, just let me go get my equipment," said Clarisse before running off. Naruto paid zero attention to the campers currently looking at him like he was crazy. It only took a few minutes before Naruto found himself standing across from Clarisse, who now had a short sword, a shield, and some leather armor, while around them the other demigods had gathered to watch. Clarisse had wanted to use her spear but decided against it since the last time she used it outside of capture the flag Chiron had given her extra chores to do. She then became confused when she noticed Naruto didn't have any gear on him. "Hey, why don't you have anything if you wanted to spar?" asked Clarisse. Instead of answering verbally, Naruto simply summoned his shield and saber, then unsheathed his saber. "Oh," said Clarisse. The two simply stared at each other for a minute, sizing each other up, before at some unknown signal they charged at each other. Meeting in the middle, they each swung their swords, and the sound of their blades clashing rang through the air. It actually caused some of the campers to flinch. Clarisse and Naruto lost themselves in their spar as they continued to swing at each other, with each of them either blocking the other's attack with their shield or parrying it. Claris stabbed at Naruto, but instead of blocking like she expected he sidestepped her, causing her to overextend. Naruto took advantage of this and swung his saber at her. He was not expecting her to roll through her missed attack and end up going under his attack and quickly standing up behind him. Luckily he was able to quickly turn and block her slash with his shield. Naruto then knocked her blade to the side and the Spartan kicked her in the chest, causing her to stumble back and drop her sword. She expected for Naruto to have his sword at her neck, but instead he stood there looking at her. "Pick it up," said Naruto. "You're just going to let me pick up my sword?" asked Claris. "There is no glory in defeating an unarmed opponent," said Naruto. But that said, Claris picked up her sword and the two started clashing again. Those watching the spar were really impressed with Naruto's ability to keep up with Claris, who was one of the camp's best fighters. Claris managed to land 2 shield bashes on Naruto, forcing him to stumble back, but then quickly blocking Claris's follow-up slash. Naruto was really impressed with Claris's skill. He wasn't arrogant or anything, but he knew he himself was very skilled with his weapons. He hasn't had a good fight like this since he ran into that one hunter of Artemis. Claris was having a blast as even her brothers didn't give her this much of a fight. Sure, she wished she was using her spear, but this was still fun as she had not expected the newbie to be this good. The campers that were watching were cheering like crazy as to them. The fight was really exciting. Their cheering had actually got Chiron and Annabeth to come over and see what all the commotion was about. Chiron was about to stop the fight, but one of the campers explained that Naruto had requested a spar from Claris. While reluctant, he allowed the spar to continue since Naruto did ask for it and Claris didn't force it on him, plus this would really allow him to see what the champion of Hikage could do. Annabeth was analyzing Naruto as he fought Claris to see if either he or the one currently sleeping would be the one to finally allow her to go on a quest. Soon though the fight came to an end with Naruto having his sword at Claris's neck. "It looks like I win," said Naruto while making sure to keep his sword at her neck until he knew for sure that she accepted defeat. Yeah, you win. I expect a rematch later," said Claris with a smirk. "I look forward to sparring with you again," said Naruto. "That was an excellent show of skill, Naruto, I'm impressed," said Chiron coming up to Naruto with Annabeth next to him. "Thank you, Chiron," said Naruto. Naruto, would you be willing to help train some of the other campers in swordsmanship?" asked Chiron, believing the campers could learn a lot from Naruto. "Sure, I don't see why not," said Naruto. Chiron nodded at this before trotting off to take care of some other things. "Is there something I can help you with?" asked Naruto after seeing that the girl he saw last night did not leave with Chiron. "I just had a few questions I wanted to ask you. I'm Annabeth Chase, by the way," said Annabeth. "I'm Naruto Uzumaki, ask away," said Naruto. "Is it true that you're the son and champion of Hikage?" asked Annabeth. "Yes, it is true," said Naruto. "Where have you been, as it's rare for demigods to come to camp when they're your age?" asked Annabeth. "I've been living with my sister Circe," said Naruto. "Have you been on quests?" asked Annabeth. "Yes, many of them," said Naruto. "What were they like?" asked Annabeth. "She mostly just had me hunt down monsters since she uses the parts that drop for potions and things like that," said Naruto. He left out that he would also use those parts so that he could create monsters. "Why did you come to camp if you were living with Circe?" asked Annabeth. "I'm on a mission from my mom and it required that I be revealed to the gods. This was the best way to do so," said Naruto. "What's your mission?" asked Annabeth. "I can't tell you that, at least not yet," said Naruto. "Do Impausai attack you or do they leave you alone due to being the son of their master?" asked Annabeth. "They did attack me at first, but they have stopped after I showed I was not afraid to fight back and mom warned them about attacking me," said Naruto. While the Impausai were loyal to Hikage due to her creating them, that loyalty did not extend to her children unless they proved themselves worthy of it. Naruto had done just that by proving his strength multiple times. Hikate's warning was just that if Naruto got annoyed with them enough she would not protect them. Annabeth's little Q&A with Naruto continued for a few minutes before they finally went their separate ways. Annabeth going to her cabin to think on the things Naruto had told her, while Naruto went to get to know those of cabin 11. 2 days later. The last 2 days were rather entertaining for Naruto. He had spent most of his time doing camp activities and getting to know the other campers. He had even met some of his claimed brothers and sisters, since like Claris had told him, even though they were claimed since Hikage doesn't have a cabin they had to stay in the Hermes cabin. Naruto noticed that while some of them seemed fine with this, only really being uncomfortable with the fact that the cabin didn't have too much space for everyone, some of them were really angry with the whole situation. This worried him a bit, but he chose not to address it for now, as he had to worry about keeping the gods from going to war, though staying with cabin 11 did make him glad he kept all of his things magically stored away so that the children of Hermes couldn't steal his stuff. Naruto had also had a rematch with Claris which she ended up winning. During the spar Naruto noticed that she was stronger than she was when they first sparred, and this greatly excited him. Circe turned out to be one of those people that got better after every fight they had, and this greatly excited Naruto's warrior spirit, as Circe proved to be a great challenge for him to fight against. The daughter of Ares was honestly surprised that Naruto wasn't upset that he lost to her and was actually more excited to spar with her again. Circe had to admit that she greatly enjoyed sparring with Naruto. Naruto also met a beautiful girl named Selena, a daughter of Aphrodite and Circe's best friend. Selena was actually very different from the rest of her siblings, as while she did care about her appearance, she wasn't overly obsessed with it. He had met her when he went to check on Catastros in the stables and found her tending to the Pegasi. Catastros had apparently taken a great liking to the female known as Chestnut. Currently Naruto was heading for the big house in order to check on Percy, the boy hadn't woken up yet. When he arrived at the big house he was surprised to see that Percy had finally woken up and was sitting with Chiron, and Mr. D. Naruto had met Mr. D a couple of times and was more than happy to stay out of the grumpy god's way. This made the grumpy god a little happier, as at least one demigod knew when to leave someone alone. "Ah Naruto, what can I do for you?" asked Chiron when he noticed Naruto. "Hello Chiron, I was actually just coming to see if Percy had woken up yet," said Naruto. "Well, as you can see he has indeed woken up and I was actually about to show him around the camp, care to join us?" asked Chiron. "Sure, I've got nothing better to do right now," said Naruto. But that Naruto followed Percy and Chiron around camp, though he wasn't really paying attention since he knew his way around camp pretty well. He was actually going over a mental checklist of the ingredients he had for the monsters he planned on making. I actually have a good amount of what I need and I'm sure I can get the rest in time. In fact I only really need 2 more ingredients and 2 of them will be ready to be finished," Naruto thought to himself. Naruto then came out of his thoughts when he heard laughter. Looking around he saw that Chiron was gone, Annabeth had shown up at some point and Percy had apparently tripped and fell before then asking a question that caused everyone to laugh. He also noticed Luke standing next to Percy. Naruto honestly had a bad feeling about Luke, but for the life of him couldn't figure out why. He did decide to keep an eye out for Luke since his gut has never wronged him before. "Come on Percy, I'll show you the volleyball court," said Annabeth. "But I've already," said Percy. "Let's go," said Annabeth as she dragged Percy off with Naruto quickly following. "You have to do better than that Percy," said Annabeth when they got away from cabin 11. "Excuse me?" asked Percy. "Ugh, I can't believe I thought you could be the one," said Annabeth. "Hey, I don't even completely know what's going on here, all I know is that I fought some bull guy and now I'm being told that my dad is some god," said Percy with irritation pouring off of him. "Don't talk like that, you don't know how many of us wished to get the chance you had," said Annabeth. "What, the chance to get killed?" yelled Percy. "To kill a monster, to prove ourselves to our parents," said Annabeth. "Alright enough, both of you. Annabeth, you must remember that Percy is new to all of this and it will take some time for all of this to sink in for him. Percy, I understand that this is a lot for you to take all at once and you've been through a lot, but you need to calm down as taking your frustrations out on others will solve nothing," said Naruto. "How are you so calm about all of this?" asked Percy. "I was basically raised in this life, it would be weird if I was unsettled by this. Though from what I can gather your mother told you nothing of this world in order to protect you," said Naruto. "How does not telling me I'm a demigod protect me?" asked Percy. "Demigods produce a scent that monsters can smell, the scent becomes stronger depending on how strong the demigod is and if they know that they are a demigod," said Naruto. The trio continued to walk around the camp until they ran into a familiar daughter of Ares. "Hey Chase, you ready to be crushed and capture the flag?" asked Clarisse. "Please Clarisse, I already have victory planned out," said Annabeth. "You be saying that when you're beaten into the ground," said Clarisse. "Oh, go polish your spear," said Annabeth. "Praising," said Naruto. "I will so that it can be nice and shiny when I run you through with it," said Clarisse. "Praising," said Naruto. Annabeth then spoke in Greek, using a phrase that meant go to the crows. He honestly didn't expect Annabeth to have such a dirty mouth. "Oh sup Naruto, you up to have another spar later?" asked Clarisse. "Sure, I'm ready when you are," said Naruto with a smirk. Guys, who is this?" asked Percy. "Percy Jackson, meet Clarisse LaRue, daughter of Ares," said Annabeth. Clarisse's chest puffed up in pride. "The war god?" asked Percy. "That's right, is there a problem?" asked Clarisse. "No, it explains the smell," said Percy. Naruto facepalmed at this, he could not figure out why Percy had said that. There was absolutely no reason to start a fight here and Percy had just met Clarisse and yet here he was starting a fight. "What was that Percy?" asked Clarisse. "It's Percy," said Percy. "Whatever, you know we have a little initiation for newbies around here, so you'll be coming with me," said Clarice as she caught Percy in a headlock and dragged him off to the bathrooms. "Aren't you going to help him?" asked Annabeth. "He picked a fight with someone he just met." "No, I'm not going to help him," said Naruto. A few moments later there was an explosion in the bathrooms as Clarice came flying out with a torrent of water following her, though Percy seemed to be bone dry. "Well, if that isn't a big fat clue as to who his father is, then I don't know what is," Naruto thought to himself. "You're dead, Percy, do you hear me, dead?" yelled Clarice while being soaked in toilet water. Naruto helped her up, then with a simple wave of his hand, Clarice found herself dry. She gave him a nod of thanks before storming off. "How did you do that?" Annabeth asked to Percy. "I don't know, I just didn't want to get my head dunked in the toilet," said Percy. Annabeth brought her hand to her chin and gained the look of someone deep in thought. "What are you thinking about, Annabeth?" asked Naruto. "I'm thinking that I want the both of you on my team," said Annabeth. "Well, I'm alright with that, and with what Percy just did I don't think being on Clarice's team is an option for him," said Naruto. "What are you guys talking about?" asked Percy. "Every Friday the camp plays Capture the Flag, and this time the leader are Cabin 5 and Cabin 6, said Annabeth. "Oh, well, okay," said Percy. "Well, I'll leave you two to do whatever. If you need me I'll be in the fully stocked forest," said Naruto, planning to not only keep his skills sharp but also get more ingredients for his monster creations. Few days later. In the last couple of days things have been fairly normal, well, as normal as a camp full of demigods can be. When it came to camp activities, Naruto found it amusing to watch Percy try things out. With forging, Naruto found that Percy wouldn't be a blacksmith anytime soon, while he himself was at least decent. Rock climbing was alright, but Percy did almost catch fire with the climbing wall started spewing lava. Archery showed that Percy was dangerous to everyone except his target, especially when he almost shot Jiren's tail off. To Naruto this just proved his theory on who Percy's father was. After all, Artemis had cursed all his children to suck with a bow and arrow. Then came running with the wood nymphs, which nobody won against. Percy was a bit upset that he lost to a tree, but the nymphs assured him that they had lots of practice running from lust-crazed gods. Naruto honestly didn't like the fact that nymphs were harassed so much by the gods, simply because they were beautiful. In fact, he had been coming up with a few spells that would protect them from even the gods if their advances were unwanted. Percy turned out to be really good at anything dealing with water, such as swimming, canoeing, and diving. Again, Naruto figured this should have been a huge clue as to who was Percy's father, but everyone seemed to ignore the signs right in front of them. He figured no one wanted to believe another of the big three had broken their vow. Then there was sword fighting, which Percy seemed to be a natural, as long as he had a perfectly balanced sword. He had even managed to beat Luke once, though to be fair Luke wasn't trying all that hard. Naruto mostly spent the sword fighting class sparring with Clarice, while also helping the campers with their forms. Currently Naruto was sitting under a tree reading through a spell book from his mom. He couldn't do much today since Capture the Flag was later today, so he decided to go over his spell book and relax. He had actually used this book to show some of his siblings here in camp a few spells that were great for pranks. His reading was interrupted when Percy walked up to him. "Hey Percy, what can I do for you?" asked Naruto. "Hey Naruto, Luke asked me to come get you since the game will be starting soon. Apparently Hermes' cabin is teamed with Athena cabin," said Percy. Naruto smirked at this since this was basically a small-scale battle simulation. He could feel his blood pumping already. "Oh, this is going to be fun," said Naruto. Chapter 3. Capture the Flag and Monsters in Camp. Naruto was currently watching as Luke helped Percy put on some armor for the Capture the Flag game. He himself had chosen not to wear the armor, but did have a blue armband on his right arm in order to show whose team he belonged to. Once Percy was suited up and had his sword and shield, the two went to find Annabeth since she was the captain of the blue team. "Hey, any advice or magical items you can lend me for this?" asked Percy while adjusting his helmet after they found Annabeth. Annabeth's hand moved to her pocket, but she didn't pull anything out. Naruto noticed this, and his magical senses told him that she did indeed have a magical item, but he said nothing about it as it belonged to her, so it was up to her if she wanted to give it to others or not. "No items, but for advice I would say that you need to avoid Clarice's spear as it has the power to electrocute people," said Annabeth, getting Percy to pale at the thought of being electrocuted on top of being impaled. "Don't worry too much about it though, as a child of Athena, I always have a plan for victory," said Annabeth. Minutes later. Naruto and Percy found themselves by a creek as Annabeth had assigned them to patrol this area. They could actually hear the fighting going on from where they were, and Percy was understandably irritated since it seemed like Annabeth had benched them. Naruto on the other hand figured that Annabeth placed them in this area for a reason. After all, Percy was a natural sword fighter and she had seen him spar with Clarice multiple times, so it made no sense for her to simply waste their talent. A few moments later Clarice and 3 of her brothers came out of the forest and looked ready for a fight. "There he is, crush Percy, I'll take care of Naruto," ordered Clarice. "Well Percy, it seems that your wish for excitement has come true. Are you ready for this?" asked Naruto as he readied his saber and shield. "Damn it, I really wish I hadn't been complaining now. As far as being ready goes, I don't think I have a choice in the matter," said Percy. "Don't worry, I've got your back," said Naruto, which actually calmed Percy a bit. Just as the boys got ready for the 2 versus 4 fight, Clarice and her brothers did the exact opposite of what she had ordered. Clarice went after Percy while Naruto had to deal with her 3 brothers. "Sorry Naruto, I'll spar with you later, but for right now I need to crush Percy," said Clarice through gritted teeth. She had really wanted the chance to fight Naruto using her spear, but decided to get revenge against Percy for soaking her in toilet water. Naruto simply grunted in response since he was busy blocking 3 different sword strikes. It was easy to tell that the 3 boys weren't as good as Clarice, but the fact that they were attacking together was making up for their lack of skill. It also didn't help that he couldn't completely focus on them since he was trying to keep an eye on Percy. So far Percy seemed to be holding his own against Clarice, his natural talent with a sword shining through, but she was slowly gaining the upper hand, showing that hard work and training trumped natural talent. Naruto then quickly used his saber to block an attack from his right and his shield to block an attack from the left, seeing the 3rd brother coming straight for him, while both his arms were busy, so to counter this he Spartan kicked the boy in the chest, knocking him on his back. He then quickly fell back into a roll, caused the 2 boys he was holding off to stumble into each other. Naruto quickly got up and knocked both of them away with a hard shield bash. Looking back over to Percy, he saw that the boy was now standing in the creek and was now besting Clarice. Once again this was a huge giveaway as to who his father was, but again he decided to say nothing. He watched as Percy managed to break Clarice's spear. Before noticing that Clarice's brothers were getting up, he prepared to fight them again, but before he could, Luke came running by with the flag. "It was a trick, stop him," yelled Clarice. Despite this though, Luke made it across the border with the flag, causing it to change color, signaling that Team Athena had won the game. Looking over to Clarice, Naruto could see that she was seething at not only losing the game, but also because of her broken spear. Walking over to her, Naruto picked up her broken spear and used a simple spell in order to repair it, getting Clarice to look shocked at him. "I'll be waiting for the spar you owe me," said Naruto. Clarice smirked at this but nodded as well. It was then that they saw Annabeth appear after taking off her baseball cap that made her invisible. "Glad you finally decided to show yourself, Annabeth," said Naruto. "You knew I was here?" asked Annabeth in surprise. "I have the ability to sense magical items," said Naruto. Annabeth nodded at this as it made sense that he could do that with who his mother is. This ability only worked for items that were within range of his senses, which as of right now wasn't that far, maybe 40 yards in diameter. "Hey, you used me as bait," said Percy with irritation clear in his voice. "Well, yes and no, I knew that Clarice would be focused on either fighting Naruto again or getting revenge against you, so I paired the 2 of you together and sent you to an out-of-the-way location. After watching Naruto and Clarice spar a couple of times, I knew that he would be capable of handling Clarice if she came after him or handling anyone she brought with her if she went after you. Either way you were covered in some way and in the end my plan was a success," said Annabeth. Naruto shook his head at this before everyone got quiet once they heard a loud growl. Everyone looked around for the source of the sound until they saw it, a bear-sized grey dog-looking creature with burning red eyes that were firmly locked on Percy. Before anyone could react to seeing it, the beast lunged at Percy, its teeth bared and ready to sink into the boy's flesh, only for its head to go flying into the air as its body crashed into the ground. Everyone looked to see that Naruto had managed to move in front of Percy and sliced off the beast's head with his saber. "Are you alright, Percy?" asked Naruto. Yeah, I'm fine," said Percy, recovering from seeing his life flash before his eyes. "That was a hellhound from the fields of punishment, but how did it get into camp? It shouldn't have been able to get past the barrier," asked Annabeth. "The only way it could have gotten past the barrier is if it was summoned from inside," said Naruto. Before anyone could comment on what Naruto said, Percy stepped out of the creek and then started to glow before a ghost image of a trident appeared over his head. "No way, I thought it would be Zeus," said Annabeth. Naruto couldn't help but deadpan at her. Yes, because everyone knows Zeus just loves making toilets explode, anything to do with water sports. His children can't shoot a bow and arrow to save their lives because they were cursed by his daughter, and his children instantly become way better at fighting when they stand in water," said Naruto, causing Annabeth to blush because with all that pointed out, it really should have been obvious who Percy's father was. "It is determined," said Chiron. "What is determined?" asked Percy. "Your father, you've been claimed, Percy," said Naruto with Percy's eyes widening at this. "My dad," said Percy looking up at the symbol above his head. Earthshaker, Stormbringer, father of horses and god of the seas, hail Perseus Jackson, son of Poseidon," said Chiron. "Hail Perseus Jackson," said the campers as they bowed to Percy, even Clarisse, though there was clear reluctance when she did it. Percy felt really uncomfortable with this, but was relieved when he saw that at least Naruto wasn't bowing to him. What Percy didn't know was that Naruto didn't bow to anyone that didn't have his full respect. Don't get him wrong, he liked Percy well enough, but he didn't fully respect the kid yet. Hell, the list of people he bowed to was very short. It was then that they all heard a lot more growls coming from the woods, and they all became on guard. Moments later a bunch of hellhounds came from the woods. They varied in size, as some were the size of grizzly bears, some were the size of rhinos, and 3 were the size of garbage trucks. "By the gods," was all Chiron could say to the sheer size of the pack of hellhounds. Before anything could be done or the hellhounds could attack, Naruto decided to deal with major threat first, or rather the 3 major threats first. Moving forward, Naruto pointed his saber at the 3 huge hellhounds. "Containment," said Naruto as 3 cubes of energy enclosed the hellhounds and cut them off from the rest of the pack. "The 3 largest ones are contained, everyone form up and watch each other's backs, fight them together and do not let them separate you," called out Naruto. The authority with which Naruto spoke caused everyone to do as he said without even realizing that they were doing it. "Magical source, mystic force," chanted Naruto. Everyone saw a purple magic circle appear under Naruto's feet before rising over him, covering him in purple, silver, gold, and black knight-like armor with silver wolf heads on his shoulders and his armored boots being rather elf-like. "Demigods, prepare for battle," ordered Naruto with his voice being much deeper thanks to his helmet. Once again the demigods did as he said with even realizing it, Percy placing himself on Naruto's right while Clarisse was on his left. At that point the hellhounds that weren't contained charged at the demigods and the demigods charged back and the battle between monsters and campers began. A variety of sounds filled the air. Loud growls, thunderous barks, whimpers of pain, metal piercing flesh, grunts of exertion, cries of pain, and claws scratching against metal. The battle was fierce with every camper fighting with everything they have since they were fighting for their lives. Naruto quickly killed a hellhound by thrusting his blade into its heart, then looked off to the side where Aphrodite's children, except for Selena, had been since they didn't want to be involved in the game. He was glad to see that instead of worrying about their looks, they had actually gathered the younger campers together and surrounded them in a protective circle. While this was great in theory, the problem was that Aphrodite's children, other than Selena, weren't fighters and therefore couldn't really protect the younger campers other than by being meat shields. After bashing a hellhound in the face with his shield, Naruto pointed his saber at the children of Aphrodite. "Protego Diabolica," said Naruto as a circle of blue flames appeared around them. It actually scared them a bit. "Don't be afraid, the flames will only harm those that seek to harm you," called out Naruto before dodging a swipe from a hellhound. As if to prove his point, 3 hellhounds tried to jump at them only to be destroyed by the flames. Naruto continued killing every hellhound that came near him while also keeping an eye on everyone else. He noticed that while some campers were injured, they were at least being covered by the others. Annabeth was doing well as she focused mainly on dodging the hellhounds and then counter-attacking with critical hits using her knife. Selena showed just how different she was from her siblings as she used a mixture of speed, agility, and 2 daggers to weave in and out of the hellhounds while delivering hits to vital areas. Unsurprisingly, Clarisse was simply powering through the hellhounds, her spear shocking and stabbing them, and she even used her shield to cave in some of their skulls. That was really impressive since caving in the skull of a hellhound was no easy feat. Percy was doing well, but it was clear to see that he was running out of steam. Working his way over to Percy, Naruto killed a hellhound that was about to attack Percy from behind. "Percy, get the injured campers to the ring of fire where they'll be safe. Get others to help you if you must, but they must be protected," said Naruto. Percy quickly nodded and ran off to do as he was told, getting a few of the campers to help along the way. Naruto then saw a large group of hellhounds chase after Percy in order to stop him and the others from getting the injured into the ring of fire. "I think not, you rabid dogs, behold the eye of Hecate, wolf attack," said Naruto as he pointed his shield at the hellhounds. The top half of the shield slid up revealing a large red jewel that glowed with power, then it fired 3 blasts of magical power that took the form of purple wolf heads. Upon making contact with the hellhounds, the heads exploded and reduced the hellhounds to gold dust. Naruto didn't get a moment to rest as a hellhound jumped on him and started trying to bite his head off. He struggled to get the hound off of him, but then a spear was shoved down its throat and it was electrocuted. Once the hound was turned to gold dust, Naruto stood up and thanked Clarisse for her help. The two then went back to back and started killing any hellhound that came near them. "This is getting bad, we're hurting their numbers, but they're hurting ours as well, and we already had less than they did," said Clarisse. "You're right, we need backup, where is Mr. D?" asked Naruto. Since it was Mr. D's job to watch over the campers, you'd think he would be here to fight if the camp was invaded by monsters. Mr. D doesn't care about our game, so he usually goes to Olympus during our game, but to be honest, I don't think he would help us even if he was here. And before you say it, I know that he's technically not supposed to be on Olympus unless it's a really important meeting or something like that, but the gods see this game as a way to evaluate our skills, so he's allowed up there during the game," said Clarice. "Fine, I guess I'll have to call my own backup," said Naruto. Clarice looked at him confused by that until he sheathed his sword, pointed his hand forward. "With Major Albedo, Sailor," called out Naruto. At his words, a large purple magic circle appeared in front of him and caused everyone, including the hellhounds, to stop. The campers stopped in order to see what was going on, and the hellhounds stopped because they could feel the power coming from the magic circle. From the magic circle came two women. The first woman was an otherworldly beauty standing at 5'6" with pale skin, golden yellow eyes with vertical slit pupils, long and luscious jet black hair, two thick white horns protruding crookedly from her temples, a slender build, long smooth legs, wide hips, a narrow waist, jet black angel wings coming from her lower back, and large DT cup breasts. For clothes she wears a form-fitting pure white dress, silky white gloves that cover her slender hands, and a golden spider web necklace that covers her shoulders and chest. This woman is Albedo, a succubus and the first monster Naruto ever created. The second woman was also very beautiful, standing at 5'5" with pale skin, purple eyes, long dark purple hair, two large gold-looking horns coming from the sides of her head and pointing upward. On her forehead is a circular symbol with a small dot on the inside and multiple dots surrounding it, a slender build, long legs, wide hips, thick thighs, a narrow waist, perky cup breasts, and black markings on her biceps and shoulders. For clothes she wears a white hairband, a white cloth around her neck, a very revealing blue leopard printed kimono top, a thick decorative yellow ribbon wrapped around her waist and tied behind her back, and a thigh-high black socks that revealed her heels and toes. This woman is Sayla, a demon and the second monster Naruto has created. Upon seeing Albedo and Sayla, there were different reactions. The hellhounds took cautious steps back and whimpered in fear as they could feel the power coming off of Albedo and Sayla. The older male campers seemed to lost in the beauty they were looking at, because if it wasn't for their extra features, they would have sworn that Albedo and Sayla were goddesses. The daughters of Aphrodite were jealous of their chests. Tyron was worried that Naruto had just summoned monsters and ones he had never heard of before, and Annabeth was curious on what was going to happen next. As soon as Albedo and Sayla laid their eyes on Naruto, they got down on one knee and bowed their heads to Naruto. "You called for us, Lord Naruto, how may we serve you?" asked Albedo, her voice being soft and melodious yet seductive at the same time. "Albedo, Sayla, lend me your strength and help me destroy these hellhounds," said Naruto. "Your will be done, Lord Naruto," the girls said at the same time. Albedo was then covered in a bright light, and when it dimmed she was covered in black plate armor with a unique helm and a black battle axe in her hand. Faster than most could follow, Albedo blurred around the field and cut down every hellhound within sight. The hellhounds stood no chance against her speed and strength. The campers then found the swords and spears they were carrying yanked from their hands by an invisible force. Looking to Sayla, they found that she was the one causing this, as every time she moved her hands the weapons moved in response. Using the weapons that she now controlled, Sayla used to slice and stab every hellhound that wasn't already killed by Albedo. Sayla was so focused on killing the hellhounds in front of her that she left her back open, which a hellhound took advantage of and pounced at her. The hound never made it to its target, though, as it was pierced through the brain by Naruto's saber. "Sayla, remember what I told you, never focus too much on what's in front of you, otherwise you'll leave yourself open to attacks from behind," said Naruto before firing off another wolf attack. "I'm sorry, Lord Naruto, please forgive my incompetence. I shall endeavor to serve you better in the future," said Sayla before using her powers to lift up 4 hellhounds and then pulling out their insides. Naruto simply grunted in acknowledgement, as he already knew there was no point in arguing with her. Both she and Albedo always wanted to be perfect in his eyes, even though he knew there was no such thing as perfection. The battle didn't last too much longer, thanks to the help from Albedo and Sayla. With the hellhounds gone, he dispelled the ring of fire around the injured and younger campers. "Power down," said Naruto, dispelling his armor, shield, and saber before falling onto one knee. Even with his large reserves of magic, using his armor, summoning both Albedo and Sayla, using the Protego Diabolica spell, and multiple wolf attacks, really took their toll on him. "Are you alright, Lord Naruto?" asked Albedo, now out of her armor due to the hellhounds being gone. "I'm fine, Albedo, I just used a lot of magic," said Naruto. "You should rest and refill your reserves, Lord Naruto," said Sayla. "I will, but not now, we need to check on everyone else, and then there are still the 3 large hellhounds I have contained," said Naruto as he stood up and made his way over to the 3 contained hellhounds. "What do you plan to do with them, Lord Naruto?" asked Albedo. Well, Circe once told me that she at one point wanted a hellhound for a pet. I think these big healthy ones will make a nice gift for my dear sister," said Naruto. Seeing Naruto, the hellhounds clawed at their magical cages and snarled at him, but Naruto ignored this as he held his hands towards them. "Tame," said Naruto as magical circles appeared on the hellhounds' heads and glowed dimly. Naruto tried closing his hands into fists but was met with resistance. He continued to try closing his hands, and as he did so the magic circles began to glow brighter. When he finally closed his hands into fists, the magic circles glowed a bright neon purple before disappearing, and the hellhounds became much more docile. "Naruto, why haven't you done away with the hellhounds?" asked Chiron as he trotted up, followed by Percy, Annabeth, and Claris. Albedo and Sayla glared at Chiron for questioning their lord like that, but Naruto raised his hand and stopped them from saying anything. "I have other plans for these three," said Naruto before with a snap of his fingers the cubes containing the hellhounds shattered. Chiron, Percy, Annabeth, Claris, and the other campers around tensed up but were surprised when the hounds just sat there. Naruto then grabbed his necklace and focused his magic into it. It glowed for a few moments before it projected an image of Circe's head and shoulders. "Ah, brother, it's good to hear from you," said Circe. "Hey Circe, where are you right now?" asked Naruto. "I'm in my office, why?" asked Circe. "I want you to go outside, I'll be sending you some gifts soon," said Naruto. "What gifts could you be sending me that requires that I go outside?" asked Circe. "Just trust me on this, you'll want to be outside for this," said Naruto. "Fine, I'll go outside. Send the gifts and I'll call you when I get them," said Circe before her image disappeared, showing that she hung up. Naruto turned to the three hellhounds that were patiently sitting there watching him. He held his hand out and casted his next spell. "Ooh, Sastos," said Naruto as a large purple magic circle appeared in front of the hellhounds. "Go, your new mistress awaits you," said Naruto. The hellhound simply got up and walked through the portal which closed behind them. Circe's island. Circe was standing outside in an open field waiting for these gifts her brother was sending her. It was then that a large portal appeared in front of her and three huge hellhounds walked. At first she tensed up, thinking this was Naruto getting back at her for teasing him about that girl he met in Vegas, but then she noticed how docile they were acting. Then to her surprise the hellhounds bowed to her. It was then that she figured out what was going on. Her sweet and loving little brother remembered how she wanted a hellhound as a pet, and he got her three big healthy ones, and from what she was seeing they were females. She stood there for a few moments just staring at the hounds before she squealed loudly and ran to the hounds and hugged all three of their heads. "Oh, I love you three so much already that I feel like I'm going to explode. I'm going to spoil the three of you rotten and love you until the end of time," said Circe. But Naruto. It's been a few minutes since Naruto sent the hellhounds to Circe, and now his necklace was flashing. Tapping it, Circe appeared with a large smile on her face. "Naruto, you are the greatest little brother a girl could ask for. I love them so much," said Circe. "I'm glad you like them," said Naruto. "Where did you even get them from?" asked Circe. "They were part of a pack that was summoned to attack the camp," said Naruto before he could stop himself. He regretted saying that right after. "What? Who did it?" asked Circe with unholy rage burning in her eyes. She was ready to destroy the whole camp in order to get the one person that had dared to endanger her precious little brother. "Calm down sis, we don't know who did this yet, but I'm sure Chiron will be looking into it. You also don't need to worry about me as I'm fine, plus I summoned Albedo and Sayla here," said Naruto. "But at least I know those two will protect you." "Well, again thank you for the gifts and be safe," said Circe before her image disappeared. "Well, we played a game, Percy was claimed, fought off a monster invasion, nobody on our side died, and Circe loved her gifts. I'd say today was a good day, I'm going to go rest now," said Naruto as he walked off with Albedo and Sayla following him. Chapter 4. The mission truly begins. Naruto was currently resting under a tree with his head on Sayla's lap. Said demon was running her fingers through his hair while smiling down at her beloved master, with her cheeks being light pink. Albedo stood beside them and was glaring at Sayla with envy, wishing that it was her lap that her master was laying his head on and that it was her fingers running through his hair. "I hate you so much right now," said Albedo. "Oh, what's wrong, Albedo? You're not jealous of Lord Naruto and I being so close, are you? I had to be his pillow as we couldn't allow for your nice white dress to get dirty," said Sayla with an amused smirk that only made Albedo madder. "Girls, no fighting," said Naruto, knowing full well that he needed to stop them from fighting or else the whole camp would be destroyed. "Yes, Lord Naruto," said both of them at once. It was a few minutes later that Chiron, Percy, Annabeth and Grover walked over to the group, but Albedo stepped in between them before they could reach Naruto. The trainer of heroes, the two demigods, and the satyr were a bit wary of the woman as despite her beauty, they had seen just how dangerous she could be, not to mention she didn't look happy to see them at all. "What do you want?" asked Albedo. "We just want to talk with Naruto," said Chiron carefully. "Lord Naruto is resting after using so much of his power to protect all of you, he doesn't need to be disturbed right now," said Albedo. She hated that her beloved master wasted so much of his energy protecting these lower beings. In her mind they didn't even deserve to breathe the same air as her master, not to mention that after everything he had done not one camper has thanked him yet. He protected them when they were too weak to protect themselves, and yet they were so ungrateful that they wouldn't thank him. As far as she was concerned all of them should be kneeling at his feet that he even graced them with his presence. Albedo was completely overlooking the fact that the campers didn't thank him because they were afraid of getting near her and Sayla. "It's fine Albedo, let them pass," said Naruto. "As you wish Lord Naruto. Cause my master trouble and you'll beg for the sweet release of death," said Albedo before letting them talk to her master. Krien was now extremely worried about having the two women in camp while the other three were really pale. "What can I do for you Chiron?" asked Naruto without getting up from Sayla's lap. Sayla glared harshly at the four for disturbing her time with her beloved master. "Well, if you're willing, I have a few questions I would like answered, I believe the young ones with me may have some too," said Chiron. "Ask away," said Naruto, knowing this was going to happen. "What was with that fire attack you did during the battle? It was a spell from the Harry Potter books," asked Annabeth, being unable to hold her curiosity any longer. "All spells from Harry Potter are actually spells my mom came up with, which reminds me, if you ever meet my mom don't bring up Harry Potter. She'd talk to you for hours about how her spells are the only reason the books and movies were so popular," said Naruto. Naruto had made that mistake once, according to his mom the characters, setting, and plot meant nothing without the spells, so she deserved 90% of the credit for the series doing so well. "How are you able to cast spells?" asked Percy. This question caused Naruto to deadpan before remembering that Percy was still really new to all of this and didn't know too much about the gods. "My mom is Hecate, the goddess of magic, because of this all of her children are capable of using magic. Well technically all demigods can use and learn magic, but it's just easier for children of Hecate," said Naruto. "Magic is real?" asked Percy. Now that question caused everyone to look at Percy like he was stupid. "Percy, if the gods are real what made you think magic wasn't real? You've seen me summon my sword, shield, and armor, didn't that tip you off to magic being real?" asked Naruto. "Children please, you can save such trivial questions for later. Naruto, a major question that must be answered is just who are these women?" asked Chiron. "Well the first one you talk to is Albedo, and the one giving me a very nice lap pillow right now is Sayla, they're monsters that I created," said Naruto. This information shocked everyone, they had figured the women were monsters thanks to their horns, but they didn't think that Naruto was their creator. This was actually the first time Chiron had heard of a child of Hecate being able to make monsters, sure since Hecate made the Impausai, then it should be possible that her children could make monsters as well, but this kind of potential never showed itself in other demigods. Athena has cursed people in the past, such as Medusa and Arachne, and turning them into monsters, but none of her children showed the ability to turn others into monsters. "How do you keep them under control?" asked Percy causing Albedo and Sayla to glare at him. "I don't control them, Albedo and Sayla are free to leave me whenever they please," said Naruto. Chiron honestly didn't like the sound of monsters that had the ability to do as they please being in the camp, but before he could voice this Albedo and Sayla spoke up. "We could never even think of leaving your side my lord. Even just allowing you to come here without us was almost too much for us to handle," said Albedo. "We shall never leave your side my lord, for all we wish for is to serve you with all of our heart, mind, body, and soul," said Sayla. "I thank both of you for your loyalty and I shall endeavor to prove myself worthy of your loyalty," said Naruto. Albedo and Sayla wanted to protest that he didn't need to prove anything to them, but they knew their beloved wouldn't listen to that, so they remained silent. "How many monsters have you made?" asked Grover. "Albedo and Sayla are the only two that are finished, while the others are still waiting to be completed. With that in mind I would say 2, but I do have more in the works," said Naruto. "Speaking of the others my lord, maybe you should check on them as I believe some of them were rather close to being done," said Albedo. "You're right Albedo, I suppose it is time to see if any of them are ready," said Naruto before getting up from Sayla's lap. "May we come as well Naruto?" asked Chiron. I don't have a problem with this, but make sure you don't touch anything without my permission and try not to freak out from what you see," said Naruto. With that said Naruto waved his hand through the air and a purple portal opened before him, he walked through and was followed by Albedo, Sayla, Chiron, Annabeth, Percy, and Grover. Unknown location. Upon stepping out of the portal the group found themselves in an open grassy area surrounded by trees and large rock formations. Another thing of note is that there were purplish black spheres of different sizes floating all over the place. Grover was shaking almost uncontrollably as the scent of monsters was heavy in the air. "What's wrong with you, Grover?" asked Percy. "Monsters, I can smell them everywhere," said Grover with his eyes constantly darting around. This caused everyone but Naruto, Albedo, and Sayla to stiffen in fright. "Well, of course you smell monsters, every sphere you see here is currently home to a monster waiting to be born," said Naruto. That made them widen their eyes as all of them looked around frantically at all of the dark spheres. While they did that, Naruto walked over to a large tree that provided shade for the workbench under it. On the workbench were tons of Naruto's notes on different monsters he was in the process of making, and also a gift. The gift was a glass orb filled with water. He smiled as he knew who this gift came from, and at that fact that it was the final piece he needed for one of his monsters. Naruto picked it up and stared deeply into it. He couldn't wait to finally complete the particular monster that this went to. "Naruto, where are we?" asked Chiron. "I like to call it Monster Island. It's an island right next to my sister's resort that I use as my workshop for creating monsters," said Naruto. "How big is this island that it can support all of these monsters?" asked Annabeth. "The same size as New York, maybe a little bigger," said Naruto. "New York City?" asked Percy. "New York the state," corrected Naruto. "How can you make so many monsters?" asked Grover while still looking around at all the spheres that contained unfinished monsters. "If you're asking how I stand to make them, it's simply because I find the art of making them fascinating, and the creature creation branch of magic is a branch that most demigods tend to stay away from. If you're asking how I actually do it, with a lot of patience, determination, precision, spoils of war, and of course magic," said Naruto. "What is that orb in your hand?" asked Chiron. "Oh, it's a gift from Lady Styx. She gave it to me as a reward for always keeping my word, and with this, I'll be able to finish another one of my creations," said Naruto before he snapped his fingers and one of the many spheres of magic flew over in front of him. Holding up the orb in his hand to the sphere, Chiron, Percy, Annabeth, and Grover saw what looked like water flow into the dark sphere. Once 3/4 of the water was poured into the sphere, Naruto stopped, deciding to save the rest for another of his created monsters, and stepped back as the sphere pulsed with power. Naruto smiled at the sphere before placing the orb back on his workbench and then placing his right hand against the sphere. "And now the final step," said Naruto as he infused even more of his magic into the sphere. After a minute of that, Naruto removed his hand and took a few steps away from the sphere. The sphere pulsed with power regularly, like a heartbeat, but after a few moments the pulsing became faster and more powerful until it was pulsing at least 10 times a second. Soon a bright light emitted from the sphere that blinded everyone but Naruto, Albedo, and Sayla. Once the light dimmed, they were shocked at the creature that was kneeling before Naruto. Despite kneeling, they could tell that when it stood it would be rather tall. Its body was an icy light blue, with it being structured like a fusion between a mantis and an ant, its natural body armor resembling that of a samurai. It had 4 arms with each hand having 3 fingers, its tail seemed to be twice what its height would be, it had large and powerful looking mandibles. It was covered in sharp eye spikes, with the largest and most prominent ones being the ones on the back of its upper shoulders and the ones on the tip of its tail, and with every breath it took, it seemed to release a small cloud of icy mist. The very air around this creature was so cold that it caused Chiron, Percy, Annabeth, and Grover to shiver. "Welcome to the world. Would you like me to name you or would you rather pick your own name?" asked Naruto. He had asked the same question to Albedo and Sayla, with both of them choosing to have him name them. The creature was quiet for a minute and didn't move a muscle. This unnerved Chiron. As to him, it seemed like unlike the other two, this one would not listen to Naruto. Naruto on the other hand knew better. His creation had never been outside of its sphere until now, never actually felt the wind against its form, never actually felt sunlight beaming down upon it, and never actually had to speak before. The creature was just taking its time to get used to all of these new sensations, while also contemplating its choice. Naruto knew all of this because of course Albedo and Sayla were the same way when they came to be. After another few moments, the creature released a large stream of icy mist from its mouth and bowed its head deeply to Naruto. "My lord, it would fill me with nothing but pride and joy to have the honor of you blessing me with a name," said the creature. Its deep and clearly masculine voice actually caused Grover to jump in fright and for Percy and Annabeth to take a step back while Chiron tensed. "Very well then, you shall be given a name of infamy and great power among those who know the meaning behind it. Your very name shall serve as a warning to those that cross you of the fate that awaits them for being so foolish, and finally your name shall send icy chills of despair down the spines of traitors. Now rise up, my frozen warrior, and accept your name, Casidus," said Naruto. Percy didn't know why, but hearing that name did in fact make him feel a little afraid. Chiron, Annabeth, and Grover, those that knew Greek history better than Percy, all took a step back as the warning behind that name was clear as day to them. The now named Casidus stood up to his full height of 8'2" and then bowed his head to Naruto. "I accept this name, you have honored me greatly today, Lord Naruto," said Casidus. I'm glad to hear that. Albedo, please take Casidus to the armory and allow him to get acquainted with the weapons there as we'll be having a spar later. Sayla, go and inform my sister of Casidus so that she and the others won't be alarmed should they see him on the island," said Naruto. "Yes, Lord Naruto," said Albedo and Sayla as they moved to do their task. "Was that orb really filled with water from the river Casidus?" asked Chiron. "Yes," said Naruto. "How did you get that?" asked Chiron, knowing that Hades would never allow a living mortal to enter and leave the underworld. "It was a gift from Lady Styx. I've done a few jobs for her and she likes that I'm one to keep my word when it's given, as I've said before," said Naruto. "That says a lot about you. It is no easy feat to gain the favor of Lady Styx," said Chiron. "Very true. Now I believe I should return the four of you to camp before everyone starts to worry," said Naruto. "What about you?" asked Annabeth. "I shall join you shortly. I have a few more things to take care of here." "With Sastos," said Naruto before creating a portal back to camp. Grover was all too eager to jump through the portal and go back to camp where there were less monsters. "Very well, Naruto, but do make sure you return at a decent time," said Chiron, getting a nod from Naruto. The trainer of heroes returned the nod before walking through the portal, followed by Percy and a reluctant Annabeth who wanted to ask many more questions. Once they were gone and the portal closed, Naruto couldn't help but chuckle to himself. "Hahaha, it's a good thing people rarely look up, otherwise they might have pissed themselves," Naruto said to himself before looking up. Hovering up in the sky were two huge spheres containing two of his strongest monsters. "Also a good thing Grover apparently couldn't sense the one under the island," said Naruto before walking off. A few days later. Things had changed at camp ever since the attack, mostly in the fact that most of the other campers started to avoid Naruto and Percy. They avoided Percy because he was a child of one of the big three, and those children were always powerful and attracted a lot of monsters. They avoided Naruto because he could apparently summon powerful monsters that they have never seen or heard of before, and while those monsters seemed completely against hurting Naruto, it was also clear that that courtesy did not extend to them. Naruto honestly didn't care about this, as those he had made friends with such as Percy, Claris, Selena, Annabeth, his siblings, and Grover still talked with him. If anything, it affected Percy more than anything, since the place where he was starting to feel accepted started to distance themselves from him. Grover and Naruto himself still talked and hung out with Percy, as even Annabeth started to avoid Percy a bit, though to be honest, Naruto wasn't sure if that was because Percy was a child of one of the big three or because Percy was a son of Poseidon. Currently Naruto was resting after an intense training session with both Albedo and Casidus. He would usually take a short trip to Monster Island in order to train with them before returning to camp. His resting was interrupted when Claris walked up to him. "Hey Naruto, you up for a spar?" asked Claris. Naruto was practically the only one she spared with anymore since he gave her a real challenge. Normally I would be, but I think I have a better idea. Before you ask, let's just go to the training area, you'll find out there," said Naruto. Once they arrived at the training area, everyone that was already there moved to the stands in order to watch, since Naruto and Claris sparring became a form of entertainment for the campers. Even Percy, Chiron and Mr. D showed up to watch. "Today Claris, I have a new opponent for you, one you may find more exciting than me. With Major Casidus," said Naruto before he held out his hand and summoned Casidus. Everyone saw the purple magic circle appear, but when Casidus stepped out of it, everyone was shocked at his appearance, except for the ones that already knew about him. Some of them expected him to say something rude to them or even threaten to kill them, but he didn't. He had the same monstrous aura about him as Albedo and Sayla did, but to them, Casidus also felt like a noble warrior. It helped that his body kind of made him look like a samurai. Casidus paid little attention to everyone else around and simply moved towards his lord, each step leaving a sheet of ice on the ground before kneeling before Naruto. "You called for me, my lord?" asked Casidus. "Yes, I am in need of your skill. The young woman next to me shows great skill in combat, and I sense even greater potential just waiting to come out, so I wish to test how she fares against you," said Naruto. Casidus raised his head to get a better look at Claris. He briefly sized her up before returning his attention to Naruto. "I can see what you mean, my lord. Is she perhaps the child of the war god you spoke of?" asked Casidus. "Yes, she is. Now would you care to test her mettle?" asked Naruto. "Of course, my lord," said Casidus before releasing a cloud of icy mist from his mandibles. Soon Casidus and Claris stood across from each other, with Claris holding her spear while Casidus was using a katana. "Alright you two, I'm pretty sure you know what I expect from both of you. You will not attempt to kill, and you will do your best to win, within reason for you, Casidus. Now you may begin," said Naruto. Claris charged in, just as Naruto suspected she would, and repeatedly stabbed at Casidus. Casidus easily blocked all of her attacks before swatting her away with the flat side of his blade. If you plan to use such a straightforward and predictable attack, make sure you are at least fast enough for your attack to still land," said Casidus. Naruto smirked as Casidus did exactly what he had hoped Casidus would do. Naruto had noticed during his own training that Casidus tended to explain the flaws he showed after every exchange they had, which helped Naruto improve greatly a lot faster. With Claris's ability to grow both during and after battle, he knew that training with Casidus would help her greatly. Claris frowned at Casidus's words before she allowed her spear to spark with electricity. She then charged in and did basically the same thing as before, only with her spear now being electrified. Casidus simply shifted his body just enough to avoid all of Claris's attacks before striking her again, but this time with the back of his sword. This caused Claris to go tumbling across the ground before coming to a stop. Should your weapon have an ability that your opponents don't know of, you shouldn't so brazenly show it to them. Sure, there is a chance that the shock of seeing it will leave you with an opening to attack, but there is also the chance that they will quickly figure out how to counter your weapon's ability," said Casidus. Casidus then moved faster than any of the campers were expecting from a monster of his size, and Claris had only just managed to avoid the swing of his sword. She then continued to dodge Casidus's swings, if just barely, before she was suddenly hit with a backhand from Casidus which sent her flying once again. You should never focus so much on your opponent's weapon as their entire body is a weapon. There is a delicate balance that you must achieve, being focused on everything but not so focused that you become distracted by every little thing," said Casidus. This continued for a couple of minutes with Casidus basically manhandling Claris without any trouble, but Chiron and Naruto could see Claris's four-man technique becoming better and better as the fight continued. Chiron was pleased with this as he had to admit that Claris, while one of the more confrontational campers, was one of their best combatants, and he hoped that seeing Claris getting stronger would inspire the other campers to try even harder. Naruto was simply happy because Claris will be even better when the time comes for their next spar. "Alright you two, that's enough for today," called out Naruto. From what he was seeing, Claris wasn't going to give up anytime soon, so he decided to end things before she hurt herself. "As you wish, my lord," said Casidus. "I can keep going," yelled Claris. "I don't doubt it, but continuing to punch a wall after you've already broken your hand won't help you get through it. You need to rest and try again later," said Naruto. "Fine," said Claris reluctantly. "You did great, Casidus, as I expected. Return to Monster Island and inform Albedo and Sayla that I may have assignments for the three of you soon," said Naruto before opening a portal for Casidus. "Yes my lord, we will be ready for your command," said Casidus before walking through the portal which closed behind him. Claris walked up to Naruto and punched him in the shoulder. "You've been training with Big Blue this whole time?" asked Claris. "No, I've only recently created Casidus, so I've only been training with him recently. Before him I was normally training with Albedo, Sayla, and some other friends I've made over time," said Naruto. "Oh well, next time you go train with Casidus make sure you bring me with you. I won't let you get ahead of me simply because you've had more intense training than me," said Claris. Very well, next time I go to train with Casidus I'll be sure to invite you," said Naruto. Before anyone else could say or do anything, Naruto's necklace started flashing. Tapping the necklace caused an image of his mother's head and shoulders to appear before him, much to the shock of everyone. "Hello my little magic boy," said Hikate with a smile at her son. "Hello mom, can you please not call me that in front of everyone?" said Naruto with an embarrassed blush on his cheeks as he heard some of the campers snicker at him while Claris was laughing out loud at his nickname. "Sorry, no can do. By the way, how are your siblings doing? Are they eating well? How is their magic coming along? Are the other campers being nice to them?" asked Hikate. The other children of Hikate smiled at the fact their mother was openly asking about them. It was rare to hear about a god or goddess asking about their children after all. Though they did get a few jealous glances from their fellow campers, they ignored it. "They're doing fine mom, they're eating well enough, though some of them have a bad habit of eating junk food when they think everyone is asleep." Naruto looked at his siblings with some of them looking away nervously. "Their magic is coming along nicely and I've taught them a few spells, but it would help if they had a few of the spell tomes you have for training." As for the other campers being nice to them, there were a few instances of bullying, but that has come to a stop since I've been here," said Naruto. "I see. Who were these bullies harassing my precious babies?" said Hikate in a deathly calm voice. Said bullies went pale as a shiver ran down their spines, and the children of Hikate, though a bit embarrassed about being called precious babies, looked at them with vicious smiles on their faces. "I've taken care of it mom, there is no need for you to get involved," said Naruto. "Very well, as for the spell tomes that is easy enough to deliver, and since I know my children stay in the Hermes cabin, I'll enchant them so that they can't be stolen," said Hikate getting excited cheers from her children. Lady Hikate, don't you think that might be pushing things when it comes to the rules?" asked Chiron. Oh Chiron, you're there too. As for your question, there is no problem with me doing this since it is my champion asking me for the tomes and as you know champions are afforded special privileges. Said Hecate. Mom, I'm always more than happy to hear from you, but I feel like there was more to this call than simply to check in. Said Naruto. You're right, I'm calling to tell you it's time to continue your mission. Said Hecate. Very well, I'll get to work and have this whole mess sorted out. Said Naruto before hanging up. Taking a deep breath before putting on a serious face Naruto headed for the stables, he kept all of his stuff magically stored, so all he had to do was go get Catastros before he could leave. Wait, where are you going? Asked Annabeth as she ran to catch up with him after getting out of her shocked state from seeing how casual the interaction was between a god and their child. To go get Catastros and then continue my quest. Said Naruto. Don't you need to talk to the oracle before going on a quest? Asked Clarice as she also caught up to Naruto. You forget that my mom also has the ability to see prophecies, plus my quest comes directly from her, so I don't need to see any oracle for my quest. On top of that I was on this quest from before I got here, I'm just continuing it now. Said Naruto. Then take me with you. Said Annabeth and Clarice at the same time before they shot a glare at each other. No. Said Naruto. Why not? Asked the girls at the same time once again. Because if I'm right about how things are going to go, then things are gonna get tense here at camp, well even more tense. Chiron is going to need help keeping things under control, so demigods don't go trying to gut each other. Said Naruto. What could be so bad that demigods may start gutting each other? Asked Annabeth with a little nervousness seeping into her voice. I can't say right now, but it has to do with my quest, and again if I'm right about how things may go you'll find out soon enough. Said Naruto before they arrived at the stables where he found Catastros getting cozy with Chestnut. Catastros, I'm sorry to interrupt your time with your mare, but it is time for us to ride. Said Naruto. Catastros huffed and stomped his front hoof 3 times. Yes we will return, in fact when I've reached a certain point in my journey you may return here until I need you again. Said Naruto. Catastros seemed to nod at this before following his rider towards the entrance of the camp. When they got to the entrance Naruto found Chiron, Grover, Percy, and his siblings waiting for them by Thalia's tree. Naruto frowned as he remembered what he learned about the tree over his time here. I'll have to remind Lord Hades about his temper when I get to the underworld. Naruto thought to himself. Naruto, I may not know the nature of your quest, but I wish you luck and a safe return. Said Chiron. Thank you Chiron, I wish you luck in keeping these rowdy children in order. Said Naruto with a smirk. Thank you, gods know I need it. Said Chiron. I still think you should take others with you. Just because you've been on quests alone before doesn't mean you should do it all the time. Said Annabeth. Relax Annabeth, I'll be fine and I'm sure you'll get your chance at a quest soon enough. Besides if things get to be too much I can always summon either Albedo, Sayla, or Casidus to aid me. Speaking of, the Major. Sayla. Said Naruto before summoning Sayla. How may I serve you beloved? Asked Sayla. Her referring to Naruto like this caused both Clarice's and Annabeth's eye to twitch a bit. I'll be going out to continue my mission in a few moments, I'd like for you to stay within the camp and watch over my siblings and help them and Clarice with their training. Said Naruto. As you wish beloved, though if I may ask, will I be rewarded for this task? Asked Sayla. She didn't really need a reward as she was happy to serve her beloved master in any way he needed her, but that didn't mean she couldn't hope. Of course, you shall have your reward once I return. Said Naruto. I see, thank you beloved, and rest assured that you have left your siblings and training partner in capable hands. Said Sayla. And please try your best to not harm any of the other campers. Said Naruto. I will try my best, beloved. Said Sayla. That's all I ask. Now I'm off, everyone take care. Said Naruto before climbing up onto Catastros and riding off. Hours later. Thanks to Catastros' speed and stamina, Naruto was able to cover a lot of ground in a short amount of time. Currently though instead of doing his main quest he was kind of on a side quest in New Jersey, well it was more like completing a promise he made and then a side quest popped up. To be fair it was rather important, there was a rumor going around about ghosts and as the son of one of the goddesses of ghosts, he knew how important it was to deal with ghosts before they become too hostile. Turned out to be 3 ghosts, the first was easy to deal with, the second one was a bit harder to get to calm down, but the one he was going to be dealing with now was guaranteed to be the hardest for him. He was standing in a forest looking down a shallow grave, sticking out of the grave was what appeared to be the skeleton of a small child. This was why this ghost would be the hardest, he always found it hard to deal with the ghosts of children. Hey you found me. Said the voice of a small child behind him. Naruto stiffened at the sound and really didn't want to turn around, but did so anyway and of course he was upset with what he saw. The child was of course ghostly with pale skin, messy black hair, bright blue eyes with dark bags under his eyes, blood running down the left side of his face, he was very thin with sunken cheeks, and the worst part was the bruising around his neck. This child obviously didn't die a peaceful death, due to the bruising being so prominent it was safe to say the child died by being strangled. "Wow, you can actually see me. Hi, I'm Johnny," said the now named Johnny. Taking a deep breath, Naruto did his best to smile for Johnny. "Hey Johnny, I'm Naruto. Do you mind telling me how old you are?" asked Naruto. "I'm 8 years old," said Johnny. Naruto clenched his fists at this, the kid hadn't even made it to double digits. "Do you know how long you've been here, Johnny?" asked Naruto. "I don't really know, I lost track after the first year," said Johnny. Do you know how you ended up here?" asked Naruto. "My dad was really mean that he made my mommy go away forever, then he was even more mean to my big sister Kat and me. My sister used to come out here to get away from him, and one day I saw her talking to a group of girls all wearing the same thing with bows and arrows. They seemed kind of scary so I ran home. Kat didn't come home that night or any other time for the next 3 days. I decided to come back here to see if she was just staying to get away from dad, I didn't expect him to follow me." He started yelling about how I was trying to run away from him like Kat did, but then he started hitting me harder than he usually did, then he grabbed my neck and started to squeeze. "I think that was when I died. I still remember looking at my body laying still on the ground before dad came back and quickly buried me," said Johnny. "Why did you stay here instead of moving on?" asked Naruto. By Johnny's description of the girls his sister was talking to he figured that his sister was taken in by the hunters of Artemis. "I was hoping Kat would come back so that I could see her one more time," said Johnny. "So what are the odds that I'd find 3 ghosts here and all of them would require that I visit the hunters of Artemis?" Naruto thought to himself with a sigh. "Would you like me to take you to your sister?" asked Naruto. "Do you know where she is?" asked Johnny excited to finally see his sister again. "I don't actually know where she is, but I know about the girls she was talking to. She most likely joined them in their travels, it'll take some time, but I can find them and allow you to see her before you have to move on," said Naruto. "Wow, thanks Naruto, this means so much to me," said Johnny with a large smile. "Don't mention it Johnny," said Naruto. Naruto then performed a quick spell in order to learn of the boy's family. Johnny apparently didn't have any living family. His mother, Catelyn Thorne, was apparently still waiting to be judged, his sister Catherine Thorne was a member of the Hunters of Artemis, and his father Joseph Thorne had died 5 years ago. Johnny himself had apparently died 8 years ago. "Johnny, in order to take you with me I need to put you inside a special jewel, but there is no need to be scared, it'll be like taking a nap and when you wake up you'll be seeing your sister again," explained Naruto. "Alright, but where's the jewel?" asked Johnny before Naruto summoned his shield and having it reveal the Eye of Hecate. "Cool," cheered Johnny. "I'm glad you like it, sweet dreams Johnny, the next time we meet your sister will be with us," said Naruto before absorbing Johnny's soul into the Eye of Hecate. Sending his shield away Naruto then turned towards Johnny's remains before magically storing it away. "I promise Johnny I'll do more than allow you to see your sister again, I'll make sure you have a proper burial, and even though your father is dead, I'll make sure he suffers for what he did. But my most important promise to you is that I'll personally make sure you and your mother can rest peacefully in Elysium," said Naruto. After making his promise Naruto was about to leave to complete the other promise he came here for, but he stopped when he felt 2 presences appear behind him, presences he was very familiar with. Slowly turning around he found 2 women standing there staring at him with love in their eyes. The first was a furry's wet dream as she was an anthropomorphic jackal standing at 6'1", with smooth black fur covering her whole body, shoulder-length straight black hair, large pointed ears on top of her head, bright blue eyes with slit pupils and teal eyeshadow on her eyelids, a lean and curvy figure, a digitigrade stance with long legs, wide hips, a narrow waist, a bubble butt, a long bushy tail coming from her tailbone, a flat and toned stomach, and D-cup breasts. For clothes she wore no shoes, solid gold anklets with hieroglyphics carved into them, a matching set on her thighs, covering her crotch area was a white loin cloth with gold stitching, over that is a white sheer skirt that reached her knees, solid gold bracers on her forearms, solid gold bands on her biceps, covering her breasts, are basically covered by a white silk cloth bra that was tied behind her neck, her right ear had 3 solid gold ring piercings. Her left ear had 2 solid gold ring piercings, a thick golden necklace around her neck, with the pendant being a large scale with multiple rubies and sapphires in it, and her tail has 2 solid gold bands on it. The second woman stood at 5'9" with fair skin, long black hair, dark green eyes with black eyeshadow on her eyelids, a slender and curvy figure, long nicely toned legs, wide hips, a narrow waist, a toned and firm ass, and D-cup breasts. For clothes she wore a skin-tight black bodysuit with green impressions on the arms and chest that matched the tattoos he knew she had under that suit, black high-heeled boots, a long black cape with the inside being dark green, and a helmet that completely covered her hair and had multiple large antler-like spikes. Anubis, Hela, to what do I owe this pleasure? Asked Naruto. Can we not just wish to visit you, dear? Asked Hela playfully while Anubis rolled her eyes. You two rarely leave your pantheons for anything that doesn't involve you, and when you do come to visit me it's always on my island. Said Naruto. I don't know why Hela came if she was just going to play coy, but I was worried about you. The tension between Zeus and Poseidon is getting worse, many of us fear what will happen to you should Zeus' master bolt not be found and returned in time. Said Anubis with worry clear in her eyes. Why am I not surprised that you all know about the bolt going missing? Naruto asked himself out loud. Because you're smart enough to know that two of the Olympian big three fighting each other for the whole world to see wouldn't go unnoticed. Not to mention Thunderbeard throwing a fit and having his children searching all over North America for it, his actions lack any form of subtlety in order to keep others from noticing his plight, he's acting much like a child himself in all honesty. Said Hela. Oh, Ra has informed me that if things get to be too much here that you're welcome to join us in Egypt. Said Anubis. Father says the same, I know my niece will be happy to see you again. Said Hela with a smirk. It just reminds me that Amunet has been complaining about you not being around more. She's also brought up an argument to come and stay with you, since she is one of your teachers when it comes to magic, I think Ra may grant her wish just so she stops annoying him. Said Anubis. If he approves of her request I'll either make her a house to live in on Monster Island or ask my sister if she can stay at the resort. Said Naruto. Oh, before you continue on your quest. I believe Anubis and I owe you something. Said Hela before snapping her fingers and summoning a purple orb with an emerald flame inside. Anubis did the same, only she summoned two purple orbs, one having bright golden flames inside and the other having grayish-black flames. As promised for all your hard work, a piece of the eternal flame. Said Hela. Flames of Ra himself and flames belonging to the Egyptian underworld, as promised for all your hard work. Said Anubis. Taking the orbs and magically storing them away, Naruto looked at the girls with a great deal of gratitude. Thank you ladies, this will be incredibly helpful for later. Said Naruto. You're welcome Naruto, just be careful, I'd hate to find out something happened to you. Said Anubis. Yes, especially if the Olympians had anything to do with it. I dare say that I'd storm Olympus if that were to happen. Said Hela with a deadly serious face. And I can assure you she would be followed by many others. Said Anubis. I'm honored that you ladies care so much for me, but I'll be fine I promise. Though before we part ways, Hela, do you mind telling Thor that I'll be sending him a new training partner soon? Anubis, do you mind if I send Albedo to you for training? Asked Naruto. Seeing how much my brother does enjoy training with you and your creations, I'm sure he'll be pleased with the idea of training a new one. Said Hela. Of course love, feel free to send Albedo to me for training whenever you like. Said Anubis. Thank you, both of you. Said Naruto. Think nothing of it dear, now we must be off before Thunderbeard notices us and accuses us of taking his toy. Said Hela. Then she and Anubis walked up to Naruto before placing a kiss on each cheek. Good luck my champion. Said Hela and Anubis at the same time before they were gone in a blink. Sigh women. Said Naruto. What if Naruto Primordial Wolf Percy Jackson, and thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.